What's up, good people? I want to go ahead and do this video in preparation because it is very important and it has a correlation, a direct correlation even to the book itself. So I want to do a video where I not only broke down and am going to break down the cover itself, but also let you know what you're in store for the book, how I went about writing the book, why the book is different, why the book is not going to be like any book that you read before. And everything I did was intentional with the book because it's all designed to get people to think, not only from a different perspective, but open their eyes to things they may have recognized before or may have overlooked even in their life. So of course, even with me being a life coach, all the chapters in here are things based on life that you may deal with or that you are going to deal with as you go along, even in your journey. So of course, this book that I have, The Law of Subtraction, is up under the self-help book because my intention is to help everyone that's going to read this book advance to that next level, to push themselves forward even in life, to help them get over obstacles or what I like to say, quote unquote, problems even in life that they're going to face as they're moving forward. So that way, when they do encounter these different obstacles, they know how to maneuver and get around it while continue to go straight. You understand what I'm saying? But this is very important. So for people who already purchased the book, people who are thinking about purchasing the book, people who are even on the fence like, okay, I don't really know what it's about. This is going to give you a little bit more intel, not only into how I think, how I even broke down the cover, things that I even did even in the cover that I was very detail oriented about. So I'm going to break all that down even for you. And again, I urge you, even if you have already purchased the book, before you dive off into it, to make sure you watch this video, the whole video itself, so then you kind of be prepared like, okay, I kind of know a little bit of what to look for before I open it up, because a lot of people who don't see this video, and I urge you to share it as well to people who are going to get it, I know they're going to open the book and be like, what the hell did he do? Like, this is wrong. But it's right, because everything has been done exactly how I wanted it done. So let's get off into breaking it down. And you can see the book, of course, behind me as well. The book itself, The Law of Subtraction. And I'm going to get to it and break it all the way down, all the way, even including the back part as well. So let's go ahead and start off with the front cover. Now, of course, people think, why is he holding it upside down? It's not upside down. This is exactly how I designed it. So yes, I did the wording upside down, and this is for a purpose, and I'm going to explain. But first, let me start off even with the background. So I'll break down the layers of the cover. So with the background, and I'm already knowing that this is going to be a next level type of book, I had to do something that signified that. So I'm like, okay, I want to have space in the background. But I don't want just space where it's dark, just that dark color where it's almost like you're floating in space. I want something that shows a sense of direction, a sense of going somewhere. So you notice all the colors I have, so it's almost like the cosmos. You're in space and it's like, okay, where are they going? Because I see all these different colors. So this is why I did the background the way I did, even with space, right? So then, of course, we look at it and it says the law of subtraction. For people, when they first saw the cover and when they first saw that I posted it, of course, they was like, okay, what is he doing? First thing you're going to notice, of course, it's upside down, which is, again, intentional. The focal point, which is subtraction, I did that in red. Now, people who know about colors know that red is a very vibrant color. It demands attention. You can see it even from a distance. So I know originally when people even first got their eyes even on the cover, more than likely they looked directly even that subtraction, and then probably try to, what does that say? Turn their head upside down to actually read what it said, right? So subtraction was also in red because when you think of someone making an error, someone doing something wrong, usually it's done in red. Even in school, all right, you got this wrong. I'm going to mark it off in red, right? So I had to go ahead and do that in red to signify as if it was wrong, but it's actually right based on how I designed it, right? So then you have the law of, which is in yellow. Then you look off right here and you see that bluish color. So these particular colors I even put on the front cover as well, because what they signify is the primary colors. You have the red, the yellow, the blue, or you could say red, gold, blue. Those are the primary colors. Those are the colors in the spectrum that make up every other color that we see. Those are the dominant, the strong colors, right? But with my book, The Law of Subtraction, because it's all about balance, as you can see even over here, I made sure to add in the purple. So what the purple signifies is a softer tone. It signifies relaxation. You think about lavender. So this is why even when people look at it, more than likely, you're going to get a welcoming type of vibe, a welcoming feel like, okay, I see the cover. That's interesting. It's going to draw you in because the cover itself is balanced without you even realizing it. Because again, you have these dominant colors, you have space, so you know it's a book that's on a higher level. Then even if you don't understand the cover or the colors, you're going to say, okay, that's intriguing, which is why I did that. So of course, I know at some point people are going to, all right, turn it upside down, right? That's what they're going to look at. So of course, with it being this way, even with space, I have these diamonds, even at the bottom. So when you turn it over, these diamonds appear as if it's raining down in space. So what that symbolizes is me dropping gems. You know, the cliche they say, oh, this person's dropping gems. And because I know what I'm given or what I'm giving is going to be very potent, is going to be very important, people are going to think about it. I was like, okay, I know that I'm dropping gems even all throughout the book. So this signifies the gems that I'm dropping. So of course I could have used rubies, I could have used emeralds, but what's the highest jewel that people look at is diamonds. Plus, with diamonds, we know pressure either busts pipes or it can create diamonds. So I already know for a fact it's going to be a lot of people that get a headache off of my book, still trying to figure out what I did, even though I explained it. And it's going to be some that's able to digest exactly what I say and what I said and think about it and be like, damn, that makes sense. I understand. So I'm going to be planting those gems, those diamonds all throughout their mind to get them to think as they're moving forward. Then you have this thin frame around here, right? You got this thin frame. So you know, even when you have a lot going on, people may say, okay, you got to look for the silver lining in things, right? People may have heard of that, the silver lining. So of course, because this book is next level, I was like, okay, I got to turn it up a notch. I don't want people to look for the silver lining. I coined a new term, look for the gold lining. So of course, even if you got the book and when you get it, look very closely, it's a thin gold frame that's around here. So that gold frame signifies a higher level. So don't look for the silver lining in things, look for the gold lining, something that's on a higher level. And something I've always told people, I say, don't read between the lines of things, but go a step further and read between the lines of the lines. So you're taking it that much deeper. So reading between the lines of things will signify, let's say, that silver lining, right? But if you read between the lines of the lines, taking it that much deeper and a step up, this would signify the gold, which is the highest conductor as far as metals. So that's what I did even for the cover itself, the front part. Now, let's take you to the spine. So the spine, if it was up on a bookshelf, a lot of people may overlook it because it doesn't say the law of subtraction even on the spine. It says the LOS. So I did that almost as a double entendre. And again, it says the LOS. So of course, those are acronyms for the law of subtraction. But it also signifies line of sight, LOS, line of sight. So what that is something they also use in the military. So even a sniper, when they may have someone, let's say in their sights, right in their direct sights, okay, I got him, I locked in my target. It's the line of sight. So what I want to do is have a direct correlation for myself, my knowledge, directly to you, my readers. So it's like, okay, directly from me to you. So that's what that signified, that line of sight, that LOS. Plus again, like I said, it signifies the law of subtraction. So it's a double entendre, even with the acronyms I've used. Then if you're just reading it itself, it says the loss, right? The LOS, and not LOSS, not LOST, but the loss. And this is for people who are looking for guidance, because as I mentioned, it's a self-help book. So people who are looking for guidance, people that are in a standstill in their life, people that are questioning things, people who are trying to move forward. I wrote things down in here and shared knowledge so that way they can move forward with different things in their life once they encounter these things, or even if they're at a standstill and they're already going through it, they can read it and have a better understanding so that way they can move forward and not as a standstill, excuse me. So that's what this entails right here. Again, the LOS. So now we're going to take it to the back part. And of course, the back is different from the front, how I even told you about space. So this is more almost at a standstill in a sense. Space, you see the background where it's just dark, almost like floating around. You also see this big subtraction sign, right? But then you see this red circle around it. So what this represents, just as the book is talking about as well, balance. This represents balance within itself. Now I know some might be looking like, okay, so how is that balance? I'm glad you asked, or I'm glad you're thinking about it. So how this is balanced, because of course this is subtraction. So if you turn the book this way, it then becomes a 1. It then also has a 0 around it, right? So for 1, this is binary code that's used in computers. 1 1 0 0 1 1 0 0 1, which is binary code. That's 1. And how it represents balance and also power is because this will represent the positive, the circle will represent the negative. So a plus and a minus in a sense. So what do I mean by that? If you look on the majority of your appliances nowadays, it doesn't have an on and off switch anymore. It has a little red line that signifies power, that positive, that device being on. Then when you turn it off, it has a circle, a O, that signifies it being off. So of course, if you think about a battery, you have a positive and you have a negative. But in the symbols, it's a plus and a minus. Just like your car battery, you have a positive post and a negative post. 2 positive are not going to work. 2 negatives are not going to work. But you need both of them simultaneously to create power, which is what my book is about. So when I say law of subtraction, I don't want anybody to get this misconstrued and think, okay, he's talking about doing away with the subtraction and making it a positive. No, not at all. I'm telling you how you can use that so-called negative, that so-called subtraction, and use it to your advantage to create power while using both simultaneously. while using both the positive, or what's perceived as a positive, and the negative, or what's perceived as a negative, and using both of them as a whole to create power, to generate power in your life, so that way you're able to move forward. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, just kind of, rewind this video back and play it back. But both represents power. As I mentioned, even with the battery, you have a positive and a negative. You cannot start your car without both. You need both. But a lot of people, what they like to do is do away with one or the other. So I'm going to give you an example. You notice a lot of times when people, they want to be too positive. And now we're in an era where everybody, I'm positive vibes only. I see it all the time. Positive vibes only, right? So notice when these people are always having these positive vibes only, they always have something negative that's attracted to them. So you have somebody that's positive, trying to go out throughout their day, throughout their work day, just be out and about. But then they always have someone that irritates them, and they like, oh, I don't know why they bother me. I'm sitting there trying to be positive, and they harass me. They doing this and that. Why? Because what the universe is doing without you realizing it is trying to bring you balance, but you don't understand that. Because if you're being positive and the universe is trying to bring you that negative, the universe is trying to balance things out in order for you to utilize that power, but you don't understand that. So this is what I'm trying to do even with the book, to utilize things that you may not know or be aware of. Same way if you look at it on the flip side, and whether it's yourself or someone else, where you got someone who is negative all the time, always complaining, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that, I don't know why this is like this, even especially with this year, 2020, I'm so tired of 2020, I can't wait for it to over, can't wait for it to be over. Notice even with those people who are negative, do you not have someone who is positive that trying to come at them? Oh, don't worry about it, I'm telling you, it's gonna get better, just hang in there, it's gonna be okay. Why? Because they are negative and someone is trying to bring that positive, to create that balance. So this is what the book is about, helping create balance, using that power of both. Not doing away with the so-called negative or subtraction, but learning how to utilize it, right? So back to the cover again, because I want to make sure I'm covering everything. Now also with it being upside down, I did this also as a marketing tool. Now here's how. Because I already know the cover is intriguing. So imagine if you were out, you didn't know nothing about this book, you didn't see this video, you wasn't watching this video, and you happen to be at Starbucks, at a library, airport, just somewhere, someone just got it open, just reading, right? More than likely, it's going to spark your interest, because you're going to think, what are they doing? Like, look, why are they acting like they reading? That book's upside down. No, it appears upside down, but it's really not. Yes, the words are, but the book is not upside down. So that automatically is going to spark your attention because it's abnormal. So be like, huh. So you either go try to read what it is, or you may inquire from that person, hey, what is that you're reading? Oh, it's the Law of Subtraction. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. So that person may either tell you about it, or you may just remember it because it stood out. You're like, okay, Law of Subtraction, no, okay. So it's a marketing tool. So you don't have to do nothing. All you have to do is just be reading it someplace, and more than likely it's going to draw some attention, because people are going to be wondering, what are you reading? What is that book? It's different. It's odd. That's not normal. It's supposed to be this way. It's supposed to be right side up. Who is this guy? What is he writing about? What is the book about? So that was all done strategic. I knew what I was doing when I made the cover upside down. And again, it goes right along with the theme of the book and the cover. Because of course they say this is supposed to be right. Well, I'm going to do it so-called wrong and put it this way, intentionally, right? So also with this book, and I've mentioned that it's an anomaly. It's not like any other book you read. So I want to make sure you get that out of your head. When I wrote the book, I wanted to make sure it had a certain vibe to it. So what I mean by that is, of course, people have their reading voice. They have their talking voice. But then once they get in their reading voice, they adjust it. So I don't want people to get into their reading voice. Upon reading my book, I wanted them to think about a conversation as if I was just talking directly to them. So what you will notice once you open the book is I purposely have extra large spaces in between words. I purposely have words that are a lot tighter. Why? Because I wanted to come off and have a certain tone and read like a conversational piece. So even though you're reading it, it's coming off as a conversational piece, as if I'm talking one-on-one to you. So other books, of course, and this is why I had like a lot of pushback, other books are all been formatted the same way. Ever since you've been reading book, everything double space, everything right in alignment, everything correct, or what they presume as correct. So I already had pushback with the book because they like, Mr. Young, you got extra large spaces in here. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, leave it alone. Okay, but I see this other part. You got it very tight. Leave it alone. I was like, I know what I'm doing, and it's for a reason, because I want people to read the book almost like a conversational piece. So when you're having a conversation with someone, you're going to go at different speeds. You're going to go at different tones also. And you're going to pause at certain parts. So you'll see even in the book as you're reading, I got certain areas where it leaves room for you to think. It leaves room for you to purposely slow down. So it's not meant for those speed readers who da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da. No. It's meant for, even as you're reading, you're going to know where to take a breath at. You're going to know where to, hold on, let me think about that for a minute. So you'll be reading like, okay, space. Yeah, think about that. Okay, now continue to read, because it's meant for you to think. The whole book is to get you to think for yourself, which is what people don't want you to do. So this is how I created the overall tone to read like a conversation. So how I even went about that as well is I wrote it as if I was doing an album, right? So I was like, okay, imagine your favorite album, no matter what it may be. Your favorite album, you could put it on, let it play from top to bottom, right? And also within your favorite album, you might have songs 3 to 5 minutes that can change your life. It don't have to be super long, but it's strong. The words in there could change your life. Then also, even with your favorite album, you also know that it might be songs that people, you know how you skip over songs. You'd be like, okay, I like it, but let me skip over this one. It's not till later on that someone says something about a particular song. You'd be like, hey, what song was that on? Like, oh, that was on, you know, that one album. Oh, okay, that must have been the one I skipped over. Then you go back and be like, oh, dang, that song was actually bomb. That song was fire. I didn't realize I was asleep on that song. So I say all that to say this. The book is intended for you to read all the way from the top to the bottom, because how I kind of talk about certain things in one chapter, then you'll get to another chapter. I say, okay, now you remember in this chapter, I spoke up on this. So it's meant for you, at least the first time, to read it all the way from the top to the bottom. That's how it's intended. Just like you would play your favorite album. And just like your favorite album, then you can go back, oh, this was the hit single, aka the best chapter that I like that touched me personally. So this is why I'm saying make sure that you read it from the top to the bottom at least the first time, right? Also, I want to give, you, my readers, knowledge on things from A to Z, on different topics that I touched on. However, in the book itself, it doesn't go from A to Z because I did things backwards. The first chapter is actually Z. Then it ends on A. Just like the table of content. I don't have it in the beginning of the book. I have it at the end of the book. Just like certain things I place in the book to see if you're paying attention, even with my wording. So you'd be like, did he meant to say, hold on. All this, understand, I did it intentionally. It's all designed to get you to think, almost like a puzzle while you're going about it, just to get you to think and start paying attention to a lot of things. All the way down to the pricing itself. So even a circle, they say a circle is 360 degrees, right? This is what, they taught in math, 360 degrees, which it's not, but I'm not going there right now. But let's say a circle is 360 degrees, right? Half of that circle will be 180. So my book is designed to help people turn their life around. So of course I wouldn't want them to turn all the way around, because then they'll be right back in the same position that they are in. So I would turn them a half circle, like, hold on, you're going the wrong way. Let me help shift you. So I'm going to turn them 180 degrees, right? You follow me? If not, just rewind it back. So if I'm going to turn them 180 degrees, what I did was take that 180, put a 0 behind it, and put a decimal point, making the book $18. So this is what I even did with the book. This is what the book entails. I know it's going to make a lot of people upset. I know it's going to make a lot of people irritated. And it's only because everything I'm speaking in here is the reality. It is not my opinion. It is the reality. And that is the hardest thing for people to face, is the reality of things. But once you just allow that reality to digest and pay attention to what I said, then you will have that full understanding, like, okay, I get it. And apply that to your life if it's needed at that particular time, or hold on to it until it may come up later on in life. And then, just like I even spoke about with music, I'm going to let you know the chapters are not long. Why? Because I made the chapters very short and potent, right to the point. If you have someone sitting there trying to tell you a story, and you have a friend, they're like, hey, guess what happened? I'm going to tell you what happened. And they sitting there talking, you're like, all right, go. Like, come on, after a while, you're like, just get to the end, get to the story, right? You want them to just get to it. So what I'm doing is getting directly to whatever topic I'm talking about. So that way you're not reading all these pages where I'm trying to convince you of anything, because I'm not. I'm getting you to think. So what I did with the chapters, I made them very short and potent. But I did it in such a way where it's very impactful. So what do I mean by that? So what I did is I took a topic. I explained why I did the topic. I broke down the topic. Then I actually used an analogy on almost all the chapters. I use an analogy. Why? Because with me using an analogy, it's actually making a chapter bigger than it appears to be. So this is how I did that, and me knowing this. So if I'm using an analogy, and you know, analogy is painting a picture. Now they say a picture is worth what? They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So let's say I have a chapter which is like, let's say maybe 200 words as an example, which I do got some chapters like that, you know, just so you know. Let's say it's about 200 words in there. That's short, right? But then I use an analogy. And if analogy is 1,000 words, then I have 200 words. 1,000 plus 200 will make it 1,200. So even though that chapter appears to be short, in actuality, it's actually bigger. And what I did in making it short and compressing it and explaining it the way I did, even using an analogy, it'll have people see that visual, which is going to lock in their mind a lot faster. Now, you see what a lot of other books, what they usually do, they usually try to drag things out because they're trying to convince you. And I know plenty of times people who even love books, who are book readers, they read books, even if they like the book, they're sitting there going through it, reading it, then they're like, all right, let me flip through these pages, see how many more pages I have left before I end this chapter. Because even though they like it, they're like, man, they dragging this out. They'll be like, okay, let me finish the chapter and lay down or put the book down. So I'm like, no, I'm going to give the topic, get to the point, explain it, use analogy, next. And it's very potent, even as I said. So this is the way I constructed even the book and the way that I did it. So I really hope that, you know, people enjoy even what I did. If they don't, that's good too. I'm actually expecting it. I know it's going to be some people, oh, I hate this book, man. This book, get on my nerve. Why did he write it like this? Why did he do this and that? Bring it on. Yeah, I'll take all of it. Because just like the book itself and what I'm trying to put out there, it's all about balance. So I know it's going to be a lot of people that just simply don't understand it. or simply do not want to get it at all because they cannot handle that reality of it. So they're going to fight it tooth and nail. Oh, I can't stand it. Good. Keep telling me why you can't stand it. Because what you're going to do, you're going to create power by trying to be so negative about it, which is good for me. I can't stand it. Somebody, what does he keep talking about? Or what does she keep talking about this book that she don't like? Let me see what they're talking about until they actually read it for themselves. Oh, they was just mad because it's one part in there touched directly on them. That's how it's going to be. Just like you're going to have some people that's going to directly love it. That's what it's meant to do. Overall, to get people to think. So the last thing I will cover is, I know I had people who said, okay, so what made you want to write a book? That's one of the biggest questions. What made you want to write the book? So I've been doing my life coaching for a while now. And I already had a book even in mind, but I did speed up the timeline. But the reason for me even doing a book was it was the very best way for me to pass on my knowledge. Because even though I speak to people one-on-one, sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other. And it's not really because I'm not saying nothing or because they're really trying to do it purposely. It's because once you run across some new knowledge and someone's just talking to you, usually you're going to start thinking even as that person is talking. So everything else is going to kind of go mute. You go hear what they're saying, but actually not listening. Because you're thinking like, dang, that made so much sense. Oh, hold on, what you say? I was thinking about what else you said. Because now their mind is going, their wheels are turning. So I was like, the best way for me to pass on knowledge is a book. Now, me, I'm not even a heavy book reader, which is ironic for me doing a book. Had I been a heavy book reader, I would not have been able to write this book as authentic as it is. Because what tends to happen with people who are very heavy book readers is they really don't have a mind of their own. They really can't think for themselves when it comes to a certain point. They always want to refer back to a book. I've come across many people where I say something to them and I'm thinking, and I give them something to think about. And well, yeah. Have you read this book? No, I don't want to read it. I'm not worried about reading. No, but just read this book. No, but I'm asking you, what do you think? No, I see what you're saying, but just read this book. No, I'm not worried about it, but what do you think? And they have a hard time telling me what they think because their mind is referred to all these other books. But why is that? Why do people even put books on a pedestal the way that they do? Have you ever thought about that? Because it goes right along with why I even wrote the book. Now, the reason why people put books on such a high pedestal is because of the very first book that was written that is known all over the world that sells